Hello everyone. So I'm back with another review here, this time of the USS Armstrong from Eaglemoss, of course, because who else would make such an obscure ship? Um, yeah, so here you can see it. Now we're going to go to the booklet real quick. Now in my review of the book for the USS Newton, I had mentioned how there wasn't a whole lot about actually designing the Armada, the Armada of ships that were around Earth. Well, in this one, they actually do get into that. Excuse me. And you can see this picture here. That's a still from the movie. And I'm not a big fan of the JJ movies, although I do like Star Trek Beyond. I think it's the best one of the three, which is a fairly common statement. But let's see here. Okay, so there's one thing that I found curious in this booklet. See here, it says navigational deflector, and it's pointing to the front of the engine, which I found interesting. Almost as though the deflector is integrated, perhaps into this larger centrally mounted nacelle. Which is interesting. Interesting idea. I'm not necessarily opposed to it. I don't know why you would necessarily need to separate the two. Of course, if something happens to your engine, it also happens to your deflector. Okay. But yeah, this one actually goes into, this booklet for the Armstrong actually goes into, you can see that's an ugly design. So is that. This one, they go into designing the ships and the Armada and all that stuff. I'm going to try and scan these images. Specifically this one, and there's another one here coming up. These two, I'm going to try and scan these. Not only for my own use, but I was going to put them into this, edit them into the video. Now see, here they have the USS Excelsior, right? And here's perhaps a better image of it. And it's red. I thought, that's interesting. Why is the first of all, why is the Excelsior like every other ship in the fleet? I don't know, maybe this one got destroyed and then they named the Excelsior class starship Excelsior? I don't know, but it seems odd, like they just had to try and fit that one in there somehow. Here you can see the Enterprise, which doesn't fit in with any of the other ones. But yeah, it's red, and although it didn't appear, whoops, it didn't appear in the first movie, it did appear in the second. Here's a picture of it. Why was it red? I don't know. There are a lot of different possibilities. Maybe it was maybe painted in a certain material to weather a certain area of space. But anyway, but the Excelsior is exactly the same. The Excelsior is exactly the same as this one, and so I really want Eaglemoss to produce the Excelsior, because it's kind of a fun idea for me personally. The idea of a red ship, you know. I think that's kind of interesting. Um, I love Starfleet ships. I love the Starfleet Gray, the Starfleet Silver, but in some cases the Starfleet Blue. But yeah, I kind of want me a red starship. I like this design well enough. Now see here on the bottom of this one, you'll see that there are these little details here. They're just kind of little squares, excuse me. What's interesting is that the Newton does not have those little bumps. So I don't know why they included that detail on the Armstrong, but they did. That's cool though. Another thing to note about this model is that it is not in the same scale as the Newton. And I've heard that it's also not in the same scale as the Mayflower, although I cannot myself confirm that, since I don't have the Mayflower. But there's a difference in the bridge sizes, but the scaling issue, I mean, it's such a minor deviation, you know, in scale, and that comparing the engines isn't necessarily a kind of a deciding factor, since they can be at different scales as they are different ships. Again, nice detail down here, I like that. Really nice details on here. I like it. There's a guy on Facebook, I believe, who he bought 3 of these, kept one original, and then modified the other 2. And on one of them, he removed this central nacelle, so it was more of kind of a reliant look. Yeah, that was pretty cool. I was tempted to buy another one to replicate that. One thing I also kind of want to do, again, this one has the clear blue pieces, the aft engines. There's a part of me that wants to go in there and paint the very center of it white to kind of replicate that. If this were a model kit and I had built it, I would have painted white behind the clear, which brightens it up, makes it appear as though it's glowing, without actually having to, you know, do any electronics or anything like that, because I'm terrible at this stuff like that. Yeah, so it's a cool little ship. I like it. It's kind of unwieldy just handling it, but you know, living with the 2 and looking at them, I actually prefer the Newton in terms of design to this one. Just aesthetically, for some reason, I just kind of prefer it. I do like the base ship, you know, the Kelvin type, which basically all these take after the Kelvin. Kind of reminds me of a submarine, you know, like a World War II era sub. And especially this one with its engines on the bottom. They kind of look like pontoons, or like a... Oh, is it gonna focus? Kind of reminds me of little submarines down there. Yeah, it feels very submarine-like to me, this one. So, the price on these, in my opinion, has always been a little high. Um, Now, I'm sure the people in England, you know, they're probably like blowing up right now, and they're vomiting pea soup at a statement like that. But they have to consider that here in the States, yeah, we have to pay twice as much for these things as the British do. So while they can get an XL for like, what, 30 pounds, 40 pounds, it costs us like 70 or 80 pounds. So, yeah, for us Americans, the price is double. And so it's this thing right here, although I did get this, I think 30% off or something like that, which amounts to about $8. Um, the price is still high at $30, which is the MSRP. Um, you know, and I mean, it's not very big, you know. So, and that's the thing, you know, it's like Star Trek was created by Americans. It was made by Americans for forever until the more modern Star Trek series. And it's like you're telling me that an American has to pay twice what an English person or a European has to pay? That's kind of, I don't know. I hate to get, you know, my intent is not xenophobia, it's just, come on, you know, it's Star Trek. Um, so yeah, collecting these for me has always been an iffy prospect just because of how much they cost. And so when I buy them, I can only buy ones that I really, really, really want. Because I can get a model kit for the same price, which is, you know, 5 to 10 times bigger. So, you know, yeah. But in a sense, it kind of makes it easier for me because I'm only buying the pieces that I really want, you know. And that kind of makes them more special in my collection. Now the booklet says that these little hatches here are EVA hatches. But in the movie on the Kelvin, those are actually where I guess the torpedo launchers go, because J.J. Abrams and crew didn't know what torpedo launchers in Star Trek looked like. Because that's not how you launch a torpedo. Anyway, but yeah. Now me, because I like the base ship, I would really love to see more variations on this design. Um, you know, like 2 nacelles down, 1 nacelle on top, 2 nacelles down, 1 secondary hull in the center, 2 nacelles down, 1 secondary hull on top. I can't afford to pay $30 per one of these things, you know, for every single one, just so I can break them apart and modify them. So it'd be great, but the one I really want is the one from Into Darkness, the 3 nacelle ship that was red, which yeah, I already showed you a picture of it. So yeah, it's the one I'd want to get next. Anyway, that's my review of the Armstrong. Hope you like it. Hope it's helpful. All this stuff on the saucer is metal. This interior part, you can see the seam there. This interior part is plastic. Mine is not. It's not glued down all the way, and I don't want to risk screwing up the nice paintwork here to put glue in there. So yeah, it just kind of is how it is. Would I recommend these? Yeah, sure. You know, at one point you could buy models of all these resin from an independent resin model kit producer. I actually built a fleet of these back in, I think, 2010, maybe 2011, and using his models. But beyond that, yeah, this is probably your best bet. The reason I've been buying so many of these lately is because it's so hard for me to do painting these days that, you know, I want me some Star Trek ships and some fun stuff, and since I can't paint anything at the moment, I have to buy stuff which is pre-painted. So, yeah, anyway. Hope you like it. Eaglemoss, if you're watching, listening, make the red Excelsior. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Bye-bye.